Hello, welcome to Devotions on, I guess it's March the 5th, and I'm Pastor Kevin. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to do our first step in lectio divina, and that is the surface reading. I decided to use the passage from Henry Nouwen, as we did hear it from yesterday, this passage from Colossians. So when we read this first time around, what is the surface level meaning of this passage? What is this just trying to say? What is just a basic communication here? So the writer to the Colossians writes, "For this reason, since the day we heard it, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, as you bear fruit in every good work and as you grow in the knowledge of God." So for the surface reading we just heard, what I would say when I'm meditating on this surface reading, a couple things jump out at me. They're praying that they will grow in knowledge of God's will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding, that they may lead lives worthy of the Lord. That kind of jumped out at me. I'll get that down to number 2, but it's just this admonition to grow in the spiritual life as I read this passage on a surface level. So for the second reading, meditatio, let me share the screen here. So what is this passage saying to me or saying to you in your life? How is it illuminating my life? How is it illuminating your life, your experience? What is this saying to you in this second passage that we read? We'll read this again. "For this reason, since the day we heard it, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, as you bear fruit in every good work and as you grow in the knowledge of God." Okay, for the second reading, meditatio, what is this saying to me? A couple things jumped out at me. It's like I often wonder for myself, knowledge of God's will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding. That's a growing edge for me, because that is so ambiguous at times. To know exactly God's will in my life. But a big part of that concerns me about this passage is the addendum here, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, pleasing to Him. And I don't know what that means. Do we need to be all spiritual and understanding in order to be pleasing to God? Is that what the writer to the Colossians is saying? It says you bear fruit in every good work as you grow in the knowledge of God. I guess that's, for me, that's doing the good work that God has called us to do, called me to do. And as I do that work, I grow in the knowledge of God through those interactions, those human interactions where God is present. It doesn't mean to me that I need to do those good works in order to be a good Christian, but through those good works, I grow in the knowledge and the love of God. So as we read this through a third time, oratio, what do you want to say to God in response to what you've just read and experienced from the first two readings, from the surface level, as well as what is this passage saying to you in your life? So when you read this again, what do you respond to God in as we read it? "For this reason, since the day we heard it, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, as you bear fruit in every good work, as you grow in the knowledge of God." Yeah, on this third reading, oratio, or prayer, what do I need to offer to God upon this reading? So I guess as a prayer, I would say, God, what does it mean to lead a life worthy of you? What does it mean to grow in spiritual wisdom and understanding? What does it mean to bear fruit in every good work as I grow in the knowledge of God? What does that actually mean? And I offer that to God in prayer. So with this third reading, or fourth reading, contemplatio, how is what I've read, heard, prayed, and experienced changing me? Of course, I mentioned this requires deep inner listening. We're only going to do a real quick version of this, but just really reflect in your own time on how this passage changes you, or what is called to change in you when we read it again, and sit with this passage over the course of the day. For this reason, since the day we heard it, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you may lead lives worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him as you bear fruit in every good work and as you grow in the knowledge of God. Holy wisdom, holy word, thanks be to God. Okay, so this fourth reading that we just heard asks, how is this passage changing me? What is it calling me to do? And I think for this, it's calling me to reflect upon the good work that I do. And does that actually help me grow in knowledge and wisdom and in my faith? To be challenged by these words, especially when he puts in, so you may lead lives worthy of the Lord. And to reflect upon what that means, because God made me worthy in Christ, right? So do those extra works make me extra worthy? Or what does that even mean? So this is calling me to greater reflection on how I'm growing or not growing in my faith. Okay, so that was a quick and dirty introduction to Lectio Divina. There's obviously a lot more to be said about that. I find it works really well in a Bible study setting, in a group setting, so we can all reflect with each other on how this passage impacts us, impacts you, me, everyone. So maybe in some future Bible studies, we will be using this tool as a form of Bible practice and as group meditation. So in the coming days and weeks, we'll talk about how this tool is used in the process of discernment.